Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo. Today's video is another design with Jesse James Ambassador Kit that I received October 2021. A little reminder of one thing I made. Another piece I made were these earrings. I don't know if you noticed them. I'm wearing them and they go quite well with the necklace. And then of course these earrings that I made to actually go with the necklace. And this is what I have left over. And I have a couple of ideas. These I've been just kind of hoarding. I'm going to do something with them. But you know, I want to do something different than the obvious. The obvious is a pair of earrings. But we're not going to do that. And I'm only going to use one. Going to also do something with this really pretty bead. And I don't know what I'm going to do with these, but today I'm not going to mess with them. But just to let you see what we have left, we have two more wooden beads. We have these two daisy spacer beads. We've got a glass pearl. We have two agates left, two coin beads. This really pretty spacer crystal-y bead. Another little glass crystal, another one, and then this pretty gold tone sparkly creature. Aren't they pretty? I just love the bling in them. Like I said, we are going to use these to make two different projects today. Project number one. You need one of these boho beads. You're going to need these little beads. Now, I also got a couple of these in the Strand. It's called the Bead Strand in Bohemian, and they were a gold tone, but I want to use silver tone. I'm going to mix my metals, but you could use the gold tone ones that came in that bead strand. I'm going to use some antique brass beads I have, some silver tone, very little tiny seed beads, and a brass head pin. Now this is more of a antique gold tone. It's not quite a dark brass color like these. So I've got three different color metals here. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your head pin and you're going to put one of the seed beads on there. Then you're going to put one of the brass beads. Then you're going to put the little crystal on there. And then your boho bead. Then another little crystal. And your brass bead. And your seed bead. Now if you wanted to, you could actually make this into an earring. But we're going to make a pendant out of it. I know a lot of you like to wear just little simple pieces of jewelry, and I like to make these little pendants, and I wear them on existing chains that I already have. And one of the reasons I mix my metals a lot and I do incorporate silver tone in is because I have a couple of sterling silver chains that I love to wear all the time. And so I feel that if I put a little bit of silver tone in my pendants, then it's going to go quite nicely on my sterling silver chain. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a big loop here so it can hang on my chain. Now you can either use round nose pliers. You want to make sure though that when you make the bail, it is going to fit over the chain, over the clasp of the chain that you're thinking to wear it on. My suggestion is to come down here a little bit. Personally though, I like to use these. Sometimes I'll use the bigger one. Today I'm going to use the littler side here. So I am going to do a messy wrap. So I'm just going to pull that like that. Adjust my pliers and wrap my existing piece of wire around until I either like the look or run out. And when you do a messy wrap, it just kind of is at a random here and there as you're wrapping. I think that's all I want to do. So I have a little piece there I need to clip off. Make sure you don't let that little tiny piece fly. You don't want it to fly in anybody's eye. And then the next thing you want to do is make sure that that little piece is tucked in. Definitely is not tucked in. I can feel it and it would scratch my neck or whoever's wearing it. But just make sure you tuck it in until you don't feel it anymore, or until it's not going to get caught on anything. But you need to make sure that you are not pinching any of your beads, because you could crack your beads. And then I just kind of straighten out my little loop there, and it's ready to hang on a chain. So here's my sterling silver chain that I like to hang all these little pendants on. And there we go. Just like that. And see, that makes a very simple little pendant. I like the way this turned out. Got a little bit of bling, a little bit of mixed metals, just very simple. And it would make a good stack piece. By the way, too, something else that I have found, if y'all travel, instead of bringing a whole bunch of jewelry that takes up room, you could take a lot of little pendants with you and 1 or 2 chains and just change them out on your trip. So the next thing we're going to make is another pendant. This time we're going to use one of these beads that came in the Color Trends bead mix in Stone Age. By the way, if you're interested in any of these bead mixes, I'll leave links down at the bottom in the description so you can go check them out. So this particular one, I am not going to mix my metals. I'm actually going to put it on an antique brass chain. Therefore, I'm going to use some antique brass wire. And I believe this is a 22 gauge, but you could use a 20 gauge. Just make sure it does fit in your hole there. And I need to look and see which side. I think I'm going to put the squiggly on this side. I'm going to make a little squiggly. So this is going to be plain, and this is going to have a little squiggle in it. So I'm going to draw up my wire up the back, or that could be the front. This really doesn't have a front or back. And I've left a couple of inches or so I can twist. And when you twist these, they don't have to be perfect. A perfect twist. When you go to make your bail, you're not going to see that these are perfectly lined up. So it doesn't matter. In fact, I will purposely make it not look uniform. And I've had it even look worse than that before. But see, they're not uniform, but you're not going to see that. Again, I'm going to use some type of a round nose plier, and I'm just going to fold it down and around and do a messy wrap. And then I'll need to tuck my wires in. Let me clip this off a little bit. Make sure you cover it up so it doesn't go flying across the room. Tuck your wires in. Make sure they're not going to be scratching anybody. And then you can do this if you want. This tightens it, but I'm going to put a little squiggle in here. So I'm going to take my pliers and squeeze and just gently twist. And so that tightens it up a little bit, gives it a little bit of character, so you could wear it this way or that way. So the next thing you're going to want to do is put a clasp and measure this and get it all hung on your chain. I am going to make this an 18-inch. First thing I want to do is open up my split ring. Sometimes it's hard to find these ends, especially when you're blind like me. Just open it up I'm going to feed it on here. And then feed it onto the chain. Close it up. Make sure it is tight and there's no space in between where you closed it up. And then I just hang. Okay, got to make sure that works. It works. I just hang that on there like that. That way when I measure, I can be accurate in my measuring. Like I said, I want 18-inch. Put this at the end. And that should be about 18 inches there. So we're going to clip. Set all this stuff aside. So I opened up the split ring. Go ahead and feed your charm on there. Put your split ring on the other end. Close it back up. Make sure you don't have any openings there. And we have a finished necklace. I love these shell necklaces. I am very much a beach person. I grew up in Florida, and so anything that has to do with the beach is always my favorite, and these are really pretty. So here's two really quick projects that you can use with the Jesse James beads. They've got so many gorgeous beads that just stand alone. And so I recommend this for some of those standalone beads. Anyway, let me know what you think. I would really appreciate a thumbs up. Mostly though, I hope y'all have a fantastically wonderful day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye.